Mr. Brown, were you interviewed at the police department that next morning about the events of the night before? Yes, I was. Do you remember if they tape recorded your interview? I seem to recall that they advised me that they were going to be taping it, but I can't recall for sure. Your Honor, may I ask what the next exhibit number will be? Your next exhibit will be number 30. Thank you. I would like to mark 30 at this time. It is a photograph of the victim. Your Honor, may I request that she not display the photograph to the jury until we have had an opportunity to discuss it? I was not planning to show it at this time. That's fine. It is marked for identification for the time being. I just had some comments before the exhibits are admitted into evidence. Counsel is not requesting that it be admitted yet, so we will address that later. Sure, thank you, Your Honor. Let's proceed, please. Do you recognize who is shown in this photograph? Yes, I do. That's Michael Burton. Thank you, sir. I have no further questions at this time, Your Honor. Any cross-examination? Yes, I do. Thank you. Let's proceed. Mr. Brown, I just have a few more for you. That's fine. Do you recall your interview with the detective the morning after the accident? Yes, I do. Do you recall the name of the detective that you spoke to at that time? I believe it was Officer Turner, but I am not positive. Would it refresh your memory if I showed you a police report? I guess. May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Yes. Counsel, which report are you going to show the witness? It is the report of this witness, dated March 25. Thank you. Mr. Brown, does that refresh your recollection by looking at that report as to who the officer was that you spoke to? Yes, it was Officer Sanchez. I apologize. I really thought it was Officer Turner. That's all right. Do you remember telling the officer that you didn't hear the car before the accident? No, I don't remember that. I believe I heard the car when it skidded around the corner. Did you tell the officer that the first you believed something was wrong was when you didn't see Michael anymore? Yes, I think I remember that. What did you initially notice? Well, I first heard the noise, and then I just remember a sudden spraying of air. What noise are you talking about? I heard a very loud sound of the defendant driving fast. And then, what did you hear? I realized something terrible happened because Michael's bike was on the sidewalk, but he wasn't there. What happened next? The three of us were shocked and sure didn't know what to do at first. Did anybody say anything? Well, I just made sure that they were all right, and then all three of us were kind of running around looking for Michael. We didn't know what had happened to him. My question, though, was if anybody said anything. Do you recall any conversation right after that happened? I recall asking what the hell happened to Michael, and Susan said that the defendant had taken Michael. What did you do next? I don't remember. Do you remember telling the officer that the three of you started to look around and you only found his bike? I don't really remember what I said. It has been some time ago. Your Honor, may I approach with the transcript to refresh the witness? Objection. I don't believe that the foundation has been laid for that yet. Counsel hasn't asked if the witness needs to have his memory refreshed. Well, if that is an objection, it is sustained. Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you the transcript? Certainly. I could look it over. It is this paragraph right here. Does reading that refresh your recollection of what you said to the detective? Well, I'll believe it if it is written here, but I don't really remember saying it right now. Do you remember telling the officer the automobile you had seen that evening was dark in color? Yes. Do you remember what color you thought it was? It was either a black or maybe a dark green. Is that what you told the detective at the time of the interview? I believe so. Would it refresh your memory if I directed you to the transcript? Sure. Okay, now, I guess I said it was either blue or black. I know it was a darker color. That's all I remember definitely telling the detectives. You don't remember what you observed that evening? No. Now, did you also tell the detectives you, Linda, and Susan had been to the movie theater and were subsequently on your way to get something to eat? Yes, that sounds accurate. Where did you go to eat? We stopped at the Del Taco and then purchased something to drink. Did you sit down and drink your beverages in the restaurant, or did you? No, we just purchased something to drink and eventually started to walk home. Did you see Mr. Burton at the Del Taco that evening? I don't believe so. You don't remember talking to him there? Not really. Now, if Linda said that she had observed him earlier, would you agree with her? Objection, hearsay. Sustained. Have you talked to Linda about what she remembers about that night? Objection, hearsay. No, not yet. Overruled. Have you discussed with Linda anything about that night? Well, sure, we are friends, and you can't help but talk about something that traumatic. Did Linda express to you she saw Michael at the restaurant before he was walking with you? Objection, hearsay. Sustained. Tell us when you first remember seeing Michael that night. When we were walking home and he came riding up to us. Had you spoken to him that afternoon at all? No, I thought he was living somewhere else, actually. Where did you believe that Michael was living? Objection, irrelevant. Sustained. When was the last time that you had spoken to Mr. Burton before that night? I would have to say it was probably earlier that summer. Okay, in what context did you speak to Michael Burton? I saw him at the beach. We used to go there together when we were attending high school. I think it was downtown at the beach after school had ended in our senior year. You had graduated in June before this accident happened? Correct. No further questions, Your Honor. All right. Do you have any more redirect? Just a couple questions, if I may, Your Honor. What's your time estimate? Is this something that we can finish before lunch? I believe so. I only have an area or two that I wanted to straighten out. Very well. Proceed. Counsel asked you some questions about your statement to the detective after Michael was hit. Do you remember that line of questioning? Yes. You testified that you remembered the car being a dark color. Is that correct? Yes. Were you able to describe the car to the officers other than the color? Yes, I told them it resembled a small compact car and that it had 4 doors. I thought probably it was a Honda, but I wasn't sure. Did you see the back of the Honda as it drove away after it hit Michael Burton? Yes, I did. I saw the back lights and told the detectives the right one was burned out. Objection, speculation, Your Honor. Overruled. It is speculation whether it was burned out, Your Honor. Overruled. Next question. Counsel also asked you regarding when you had previously seen your friend before he was killed. You mentioned seeing him at the beach over the summer. Is that right? Well, I believe that's the last time I saw him. I might have seen him at a party over the summer, but I don't really remember that. I just know that it is possible. Move to strike, Your Honor. No foundation. Sustained. But you do specifically remember seeing him downtown at the beach? We used to go surfing together. I would see him there. You testified earlier that you were talking to him about the beach right before the car approached. Were you making plans to do something, or were you remembering trips from the past? No, we were talking about maybe getting together that weekend at the beach. Like I said, I didn't know that he was in town, and I thought it would be fun to go to the beach again. Had you actually made plans before the accident? Objection, irrelevant. Sustained. All right. One other area that I wanted to ask you about. Counsel asked you about your conversations with Linda and Susan regarding this incident. Do you recall that? Yes. Now, do you see them on a regular basis, or do you see them on a regular basis before that night? Well, I worked with Linda and saw her all the time. Susan was not around as much, but I saw her every now and then. I hope this question isn't too personal, but were you dating either of these girls? No, we were just friends. And had you dated them at any time in the past? Well, I guess it depends on what you consider a date. We mostly hung out with a group of friends. Do you currently have a girlfriend now? No, not at this time. Do you recall talking to either Susan or Linda after this happened? Of course. I mean, do you specifically remember a conversation? Objection, it's hearsay. I am not asking for the conversation, just if he recalls having one. Overruled.